What's up, everyone? My name is Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Want You Watch. Today, we are covering my weekly review on Beyond the Gates. This is season 2. This is episodes, I forgot which ones, but it's the week of January 26th through the 30th. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Like, share. You can comment on this video, and you can subscribe to my channel. Now, let's get into these week's episodes. Okay, y'all, so not feeling the greatest, but I'm going to try to somewhat speed through this week. There are certain things that I do want to talk about, so I'll go into depth on it, but I'll probably not give a lot of commentary on a lot of stuff that was going on this week. It wasn't a boring week whatsoever. It's just some things, to me, wasn't that much of a matter, something that I'm really wanting to concentrate on. All right, so at the country club, Tomas runs into Nicole and Danny, the latter of whom flashes back to her kiss with Bill. She warns Bill's newest junior partner that her ex appreciates people who can keep their mouths shut. Because you remember, Danny and Bill were caught kissing. Danny didn't know, but Bill ended up telling Danny that he saw Thomas looking at them. When Thomas steps away for a client dinner with Bill, Danny demands to know which man in Nicole's life is responsible for her glow. Danny squeals when Nicole fills her in on her too good of a date with Carlton. However, she's trying to figure out who she is without a man. I could get with that with Nicole, but when you see how Carlton's operating, I think Carlton is operating like boyfriend and girlfriend, and that is too much for Nicole to commit to, especially after, almost a 30-year marriage. Bill gets nostalgic again, and I'm getting tired of that. Before their client arrives, Tomas reassures Bill his lips are sealed, but warns he's playing with fire where Danny is concerned. Bill warns him about overstepping, but also not to make the same mistakes he did. He recounts how ferocious Danny was and how she helped build his career. This is what I really want to talk about. However, her love for him and their family replaced the love she had for herself. And she stopped being the woman he fell in love with, and everything she did for him is what pushed him away. That's all I want to talk about. That's all I wanted to read. So Bill confessed that I used this woman as clout to get what I wanted. I loved the woman that she was when I first met her, full of fire, had her own ambitions, and then I broke her down. I broke her down to what I wanted her to be, and when I was done, I was through with her. I lost respect in her because I wanted her to be the trophy wife for me after using all of her connects as a Dupree. That's what he's saying, y'all. That's what he's saying. So, sorry about that. Yeah, that's all Bill was. And we really deduced all of that during this whole year, of this first year of Beyond the Gates, of this being what Bill is all about. He lost respect because Danny kept taking him back after all the times he cheated on her. And Danny's still going back. That is a bird. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. When the client calls to say that they'll be an hour late, Bill sends Tomas to meet Kat. Basically, don't do the same things that I did. I'm sure Tomas, if they really write something for Tomas, he may become that character that nobody really wants. But yeah. Bill eyes the sisters' table as Nicole talks about exploring this new side of her with no bounds, even though there's a part of her that's still heartbroken over what she's lost. Danny understands and wistfully glances at Bill. You finally escaped this man, Danny. You picked yourself back up only to just go back to this garbage. I'm trying to wait to say what I'm going to say towards Danny. Bill's trash. But I got something to say. Danny. The Dupree sisters dress to impress. At home, Anita comes to after briefly passing out. Remember she passed out? She insists to a frantic Vernon and Sharon that she's fine. Over Anita's protest, Vernon calls her doctor. As Kat waits for Tomas at Uptown, she interrupts Ted and Shanice's date. Ted steps away for a work emergency, leaving Kat to quiz Shanice about her relationship with her father and to warn her about Leslie. Ugh. Shanice wins her over by stating, if push comes to shove, I will show that little basket case, BITCH, exactly who she's messing with. Okay, now, hopefully you are really up for the challenge, Shanice. But that woman is relentless, and we know that she's put people in the hospital. Just saying. But it's good to see Leslie focus on someone else besides the Duprees, who really made Leslie look more stronger than what she is, because they wanted to take the high road. When Tomas arrives at Uptown, he admits he fears Bill will go back on the junior partnership. Kat bolsters his ego, and they toast to both of their professional successes. Tomas's eyes suddenly go wide, and Kat's face falls as they watch as sultry Nicole sit at the bar. Basically, Nicole got a freakum dress on. I said, okay, shout out to Beyonce. Danny returns to the club in a sexy dress that Bill got her years ago. She coyly smiles as he admires her, but her grin fades when Bill muses that she went home to put it on for his sake. I agree. Even though Danny does say that, these are one of the few things that she kept of what Bill bought for her. And she wore it for herself. Ma'am, quit being so, try to act mysterious like we can't see what's going on. I don't really like what Danny is doing, but Danny's going to have to bear this cross alone. If Andre decides to back up out of it, I don't blame him. Bill and Danny are the Jody and Yvette of PG County. Meaning you can't really take them seriously, because they will get back together no matter how toxic, how great the offense is. These two codependent people will get back together. And I hate that for Danny. At the Duprees, since Anita's doctor was not available, Vernon calls Ted. Ted gives Anita an IV cocktail to restore her hydration levels. He assures Vernon that he doesn't have to go through Anita's doctor next time. He still vows that he's family and he'll be there for them. Despite even his and Nicole's divorce. And anything that they need is on the house. After he leaves, Vernon sends Sharon away, much to Anita's ire. She can decide if she's up for a visit with a friend or not. She accuses him of overreacting, but Vernon tears up, fearing he'll lose her. Anita points out that that's a possibility, but he has to let her do this her way. I see both sides. I don't think Vernon was overreacting. This is all new. So it's like, no, Anita. I get it that you just want to still take care of yourself. It should scare you that you just all of a sudden fainted, but hey. But I get that you don't want to seem like a weakling. And nobody thinks that you are a weakling. But at the hospital, Ashley implores Naomi to confide in Jacob about having the BRCA gene. Naomi admits that based on their baby issues, she doesn't think he'd understand the choices she'd make about her own body. What other choices are you making? I'm sorry. I understand women's rights and all that stuff, but y'all still a couple. You don't even have anything wrong with your body. You just carry a gene. You just sound very foolish. And I don't like it, Naomi, as to how you're acting, and that's why you're going to lose your husband. And I don't even care. you just acting really stupid at this point. But you're Anita Jr. All right, so this is the next episode. Seated at Uptown table with Tomas and Kat is stunned to see her glammed up mom sitting at the bar. So imagine her reaction when Kyle walks up and joins her. Nicole and the handsome Doc bond over drinks as they get to know one another. Kat, meanwhile, doesn't seem all that into Mom's attempt to reboot her life. She's not particularly thrilled to see Nicole hanging with the guy who looks like he just stepped off the set of Grey's Anatomy. Shout out to McDreamy and McSteamy. If you watch Grey's Anatomy, then you know what's up. When Kat says it must feel to Nicole as if the ground is shifting under her feet, Thomas wonders if his girlfriend might be speaking about herself too. Kat admits it's true, thanking him for being her rock. Can you believe that? As for Kyle and Nicole, they eventually discuss Carlton, aka his competition. Kyle points out that if Carlton was a threat, she wouldn't be drinking alone. Madison and Chelsea start what the doctor knows is going to be difficult conversation. Given her girlfriend's recent behavior, Chelsea says she doesn't want to go back to her party girl ways, but admits that she misses the sense of freedom and doesn't want to be judged. You're popping pills, lady. You're going to be judged. Madison insists that if she's holding Chelsea back for being who she wants to be, she'll walk away. Madison doesn't know how to fix the fact that opposites don't necessarily work. Chelsea kind of sort of accidentally proposes. She counts it as her spontaneity, her being spontaneous, but it isn't convincing to Madison, who says that it's fear, not love, before walking away. Joey welcomes Lance. This is the guy that was being aggressive towards Vanessa last week. When he comes to the club, it starts as deceptively friendly, but ends with Joey warning that if Lance so much as breathed Vanessa's name, he'll off the dude. Meanwhile, Danny meets Vanessa at the club, but only after Bill makes some rather inappropriate remarks about his ex-wife dressing. He assumes to please him. Vanessa marvels at how a man can be so full of himself and pathetic at the same time. Go ahead, Vanessa. Once he exits, Vanessa says that she is all for Bill choking on the bitter pill of regret, but adds Danny shouldn't get caught up in the game. Amen. Danny heads home to Andre, and Lolly, who is Lance's wife, shows up to apologize to Vanessa for Lance's behavior. The two women agree to basically protect one another, after which Lolly takes her husband to task, and he, seeing the blonde, beats a hasty retreat. Vanessa later shows up at the club where Joey notices how bad the bruise she got from Lance has become. He tells her not to minimize it, swearing on everything, I hold sacred that you will never be hurt by my business again. I'm sure that this is going to be quite interesting to see where this relationship between Joey and Vanessa said that she wanted to be a part of the big boys. And I'm wondering where this is actually going to take them, because you're going to get a taste of Joey, the bad guy, for real, Vanessa. Joey lets Vanessa think that he didn't confront Lance, even as he assumes the reason Lolly's husband practically ran out of the club was because of her threat to ruin them socially. After Haley and Andre cross at the coffee shop, he makes it clear she's not someone he wants to hang out with. Haley tries bonding with Andre over sob stories, but that doesn't go well. He heads home to a romantic evening with his wife. Haley sends a sexy text to Bill, unaware he's caught up in memories of his time with Danny. Haley slips into something sexy and tries seducing Bill, only to be ticked off when he starts snoring. As she fumes, we realize that her husband is only pretending to be asleep. It's still crazy in how they're writing the story. She says that Bill is only a mark to her, but is so mad that he's not paying attention to her. So I'm still confused on that story, unfortunately. Anyways, now we get into Ted, and to see how very generic and bland he really is, it's quite crazy. Overhearing Ted ordering flowers, Leslie proves there's no conclusion she won't prematurely jump to. Assumes they're for her, he makes it clear they're for Shanice, adding that Eva's mom needs to stop harassing Shanice. Leslie later swings by the hospital to flirt with Marcel, but before they can go out to breakfast, she notices the roses Ted ordered for Shanice being delivered. Leslie tries needling her rival without much success, but after overhearing Nicole say the same thing, which basically, after they have sex, Ted always delivers roses. Nicole, after Leslie leaves, sees these roses, and she's mentioning it to a coworker that Ted used to be this way as far as romantic after a milestone. Shanice later calls Ted out, and he admits it's true. They make plans for later that evening, unaware that as they speak, Leslie, having paid off a bellboy, is slipping into Ted's room to plant a pair of her panties behind a pillow. Is Smitty over his head? Jacob asks yet again why Naomi is researching cancer treatments, failing to notice yet again that when he mentions yet again her not having the BRCA gene, she gets tense and evasive. Once she leaves, Elon joins his son to talk about the blood case. This is the plasma case thing going on. A suspect known as the Impaler and the progress that needs to be made pronto. Now, someone made some theories about either the Impaler is Kyle or is his name Griffith? The one that's in the lab that Ashley's now talking to. But someone even said later on this week that they think that Madison may be involved in it. What do y'all think? Elon's questions make it clear that he doesn't think Jacob can handle the assignment, and he later shares that opinion with Marcel. Surprisingly, Marcel says the squadron seems to be supporting Jacob, and he offers to keep an eye on Jacob. Martin worries about the new story Smitty's working on, which kept him out all night. Martin later meets with Vernon to talk about his campaign, but Martin quickly realizes his grandfather's mind is on Anita. Vernon says that when Anita collapsed, he feared that she died, and it was the worst pain he ever felt. Martin promises to be there for his grandfather no matter what he needs. Meanwhile, Jacob meets with Smitty, and we learn from the reporter he has been working with the cop. But Jacob fears that Smitty's reckless behavior could put them both in danger. Anita, wearing her judgment like the latest fashion, Kat takes her mom to task for having enjoyed Kyle's company the night before. What? However this is written. Basically, she is taking Nicole to task for enjoying her night with Kyle. Nicole refuses to be sex shamed by her daughter, who is obviously Team Carlton. Speaking of whom, he swings by Nicole's office, and while she agrees to have dinner with him, she gently rejects his suggesting that they go on an overnight date to his niece's destination birthday party. Yeah, sir. That's a little bit too much. And you're trying to make them into a couple. You're not a couple. She's dating right now. Kat storms on over to talk to Anita, who has just booted a concerned Vernon out of the house temporarily. Anita suggests Nicole is dealing with things in her own way. And Kat, she adds, has better things to worry about. Basically, Anita put Kat in her place. Kat leaves once her grand agrees to talk to Nicole about, hey, stop all that stuff. Kat's next stop is Orphan Jean's crossing with her dad, and they have a nice moment until he mentions Eva. Stomping off, Kat takes a seat and is joined by June. The waitress offers Kat advice regarding what's important in life, including sisters. When it comes to Eva, June advises that Kat not slam the door so hard it can't be reopened. While this isn't the first time Kat's been told this is now the third time. The look on her face indicates that maybe, just maybe, this time it's sunk in. Yeah, right. As for Anita, she does summon Nicole, but not for the reason Kat hoped. Instead, it's to suggest her daughter be prepared to step in as family matriarch should the worst come to pass. That stuff can be earth-shattering, but look, it's also necessary, y'all. And I don't blame Anita to getting ahead of whatever could face them in the future, so it is what it is. Turns out Anita has created a massive binder with everything Nicole will need to know in order to facilitate a smooth transition. In fact, that is why she actually kicked Vernon out for a few hours, as she knew they couldn't have this conversation with him present. If I had this Kickstarter thing as far as with my dad, I would have loved it. My dad passed away in the heat of the moment that we didn't even know was coming. So I get it. So, but I know that Nicole wouldn't, at least in her face, take that any type of other way. The next day, or the next episode, Chelsea is wildly stoked that, thanks to Dad Bill, that she and Kat have a meeting with Lauren Finmore. Lauren Finmore is from The Young and the Restless. She has Finmore's over there. She does her own beauty stuff and a cosmetic line and all of that good stuff, and has worked a lot with Jabot. The character actually went over to The Bold and the Beautiful for a time frame, but now back over on Young and the Restless. I know exactly. I'm familiar with her very well. As the father and daughter talk, Haley enters just in time to hear her hubby say he was married to one of the most beautiful supermodels on the planet. Amazingly, Haley doesn't get bent out of shape, saying that he's just being a good daddy. She attempts to seduce Bill in his office, but he says to save it for later. Quicker than you can say, take the tea, she's breaking out the eyedropper and dosing her spouse. Why doesn't she become a little bit more original with this whole tea thing? Or poison the food. Put some drops in that too. I just don't get that. Bill heads to the club where he runs into Vernon and flashes back to a time when they were much closer. It becomes obvious that the lawyer is feeling the effects of his wife's drugs, and you see him coughing all the time and losing breath. Vernon recalls hanging with Bill at the club the night before he dumped Danny. Basically, Bill didn't have the heart to tell Vernon what he was about to do, and Vernon is very taking offense to that, as anyone would. Vernon ends up saying, "You're not the son I never had. You are a liar and a disappointment." In a stunning moment, Bill admits that he made a mistake in leaving Danny. And I believe that Vernon said it's the best thing that you could have done to Danny, and to leave her alone. After his former father-in-law exits, Bill receives a text from Madison asking him to come by the office. Let me make sure. Okay, cool. Eva. Finding her mom in a generous mood, Eva can't help but assume that you've done something awful. Flashing back to the having planted the panties in Ted's room, trifling, Leslie asks her daughter, "Is there no universe where your mama is just putting out joy?" Eva shuts that notion down, and she's also not into the idea of Leslie hooking up with Marcel, even as a temporary filler until she can land Ted again. She is positive that Shanice will be out of the picture soon. Oof. Kat wants Chelsea to join her in judging Nicole, getting her groove back, but that's not how things go. Now, did y'all hear the reference of Kat mentioning BMF? You know, the TV show that's on Stars, the Black Mafia family. That was 50 Cent's show. I said, go ahead, y'all. But anyway, shout out to BMF, even though now it's canceled. When talk turns to Madison, Chelsea admits that she proposed in the least romantic way possible. They're both surprised when Danny walks into Uptown with Isaiah. Turns out Danny wants him to join her modeling agency. He laughs it off the invitation, but she suggests that he think about it and then call when he's ready for his close-up. The way she talked to him, it was very like anyone that's propositioning someone to be in the business of any kind. So she's really good at it. She was selling how he has a story to tell. His face tells it all. As not being really selected and all of she really played on his childhood trauma. I don't know how much Danny knows about it, but she was playing on that to try to reel him in. Kat later joins Isaiah at his table to convince him he should accept Danny's indecent proposal. As they're laughing it up, Eva walks into Uptown and sees them together. Wow. The tables have turned. The tables have turned. What goes around comes back around. Grayson, that's the one. I called him Griffin, but Grayson is getting his flirt on with Ashley when Derek struts in and tries to interrupt. Apparently, having taken extra testosterone, as usual, Derek is in full jerk mode. Laughingly suggests that he could bench press 3 of his rival. You're so dumb. Ashley intervenes and Derek apologizes, saying that while they aren't together, he still needs to talk to her. Turns out that he's being forced to retire from the firehouse. He's being put on permanent disability. And then, yet again, here's Ashley putting on the cape for Derek. Even though can't really stand her, but all the time, he's manipulating her to stay in his life. Even though it is true that he is retired. She vows to help get him through this and pulls him into a hug. Of course, Grayson is witnessing this moment. Like, ugh, here we go. Danny joins Vernon at the club where they discuss everything from Martin's upcoming primary race to the idea of Anita doing a Reiki. You know, if you are a fan of anything of the reality shows, they've been doing a lot of that Reiki and doing sound baths and all this stuff. Haley runs into Lynette at the coffee shop. As they're talking, Danny approaches and warns the newbie that sooner or later, Haley will try to take something that she loves. Now, if y'all see Lynette, and I think I'm really noticing it now after seeing it online, but they were saying that Danny should have recruited Lynette because of just how beautiful she is. I mean, Haley's beautiful too. We just don't like her. um, on the next episode, Haley tells Randy that she's majorly up the dose by she's slipping into Bill's tea in order to expedite her husband's meeting with Jesus. She's more than ready to shop for an extra long coffin, but Randy warns that upping the dose could cause changes a doctor might notice. Oof. At the same time, Bill's at the hospital. Madison reveals that she's taking a sabbatical for the rest of the year, which is why she arranged the after-hours visit with Bill. He's stunned to hear that she's going to a research facility in Copenhagen, Denmark. He asks if this has anything to do with Chelsea, but she's all business, basically not telling him anything. While Madison's testing his blood, Bill calls his daughter to share the news, which prompts her to show up at the hospital and try desperately to change her girlfriend's mind. When the test results come back, Madison notices a few odd things. She says that it's not a reason to panic, but wants his new doctor to run the test again. Heading back to the office, Bill rejects Haley's advances, telling her about his doctor's appointment, and he's about to undergo more testing. With Nita still annoyed at him, Vernon says, I fully accept blame for all of everything, which I don't think he should. Like, they're trying to adjust. And as if that doesn't prove him the best husband ever, it turns out that he had the country club closed for the evening so that they can share a romantic evening together, during which the C word is verboten and dancing is in order. I think that was the best thing. That solidifies them as a power couple in the soap opera world, so I'm glad for that. And while Vernon is making dessert arrangement, Anita discovers that thanks to chemo, she's losing her hair. Without telling Vernon exactly what's going on, why? So as not to break their one rule of the evening, Anita asks that they cut the night short and head home. I mean, I guess that is fair, but hopefully she doesn't keep it as Anita 2.0 is doing, Naomi. Kat and Isaiah are laughing it up when, clearly annoyed, Eva approaches their table to interrupt. The usual snipping breaks out between the supposed ladies, with Isaiah kind of annoyed by the whole thing. Eva is upset that her man doesn't seem to take seriously just how badly Kat treats her. Suddenly, the reality strikes Isaiah, who asks if Eva is jealous. Ooh. Upset, she storms out, and Kat walks back over and points out how exhausting it must be to date her half-sister. I think Kat should have left that alone and not said anything. The damage has been done. You know, I would have just left it there and not said anything. Anyways, well. Nicole is in the driver's seat as she receives messages from Kyle and Carlton, both of whom are hoping to see her that night. She gets all glammed up, and it turns out Carlton is the chosen one, at least tonight. He plans on taking her to Obelisk, but she'd rather stay home and make love. I give my all to have one more night with you. While they made love before, she admits that allowing him into the bed she shared with Ted is a big deal. Now, people, look, I'll tell you that the sex scene was really hot. Nicole, you need to tell me you didn't get a new bed? Carlton, you were okay sleeping in your best buddy's bed? I hate to take away from that, but you know I always got something to say about Carlton. But when he asked her to join him for dinner on Saturday, she's not ready to commit to that. Instead of scheduling our next date, she says, I prefer to play things by ear. So, basically, we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's what Nicole is on, and she just wants to take it ear by ear. She wanted sex. She didn't even want to be dined. And I don't think that Carlton is really catching on to that. And I could see Carlton losing patience. Kyle really isn't in there because all they've really done is just had drinks right now. He might be more Nicole's flow because he's willing to go with the flow. Carlton has no choice in the matter, even though he's trying to make initiatives to make things be greater for them, if you understand what I mean. So, yeah, I'm kind of losing my voice here, and this is the end of the week. Thank you for hanging with me. It was an interesting week, and it looks like next week is going to be good too. Season 2 is a whole lot better than some of Season 1. If you agree with me, let me know. And if not, let me know also. But let me know what you thought about this week's episodes. Again, Nicole and Carlton's scenes were hot. But now knowing that it was in Ted and Nicole's bed, and it doesn't look like she changed the mattress, it's a little bit ew for me. All right, but I appreciate everyone for coming. Like, comment, and subscribe. Until the next one, peace.